Hi, I'm Joan Autry with Tutti Tavola Cooking School, and a lot of people ask me, how do you choose a really good knife? Well, there's some complication, but it's mostly very simple. Couple of basics. First, you want to have a knife that has carbon in the steel, and that will allow it to hold its edge. You always want to have a sharp knife that you're working with. It helps you as a tool, and it also helps you to avoid injury. Secondly, the type of knife. You want to have something that's forged instead of stamped, so that it's not connected at the hilt where it could loosen. You want it to be really balanced in your hand, and something that they call full tang, which is all one piece from end to end. This is a chef's knife, standard 8-inch. There's also the Santoku, which is 7 to 8 inches. You can get a Santoku a little bit smaller if your hand is smaller, but you want to make sure that you have full control over the knife. My recommendation would be to have a utility knife. This is 5 inches, and or a chef's or Santoku. I prefer the chef's knife because, as you can see, it's got what they call a boat, this little curve here, and it helps me to chop very, very evenly. Some folks prefer the Santoku because they like the grantons, which form an air pocket and allow food to move away from the knife so you're not cutting it more than once. The other knife that I would recommend, and this truly is the only one I would recommend with a serrated blade, is a bread knife. The serrated blades are very good, except for the fact that they're hard to sharpen, and sooner or later you're going to have to sharpen them. Difference between sharpening and honing. Honing is something that you can do once or twice with every use. The sharpening is something that you want done professionally, and it actually takes a little bit of the steel away from the edge. Knives get little divots every time you use them. It's just something that happens. When you hone it, you actually straighten out those small divots. Kind of think of it like this. You've got the divots and then you're straightening it out. But the actual professional sharpening is something that removes a little bit of the steel away from the blade. I wouldn't recommend, especially if you're starting out, to get a whole bunch of different knives, but two. One utility that's smallish and one that's larger for larger jobs will do you just fine. Some folks might like a paring knife, and if you have small hands, this may be working well for you as a utility. The other thing that you want is you want to check and see if you have a lifetime guarantee, because you're making an investment. If you're spending $75 to $125 on a large knife, you want to make sure that if there's any problem, you can get your money back. So I would research it. But also, you don't want to wash your knives in the dishwasher. It can dull them, and there are also a lot of opportunities for accidents. So wash them in warm, soapy water, then dry them, and then store them in a knife block or in a comfortable safety case. This is Joan Autry with Tutti Tavola Cooking School, where you can get your PhD in delicious.